In this video, I'm going to break down how to sell on Amazon in excruciating detail. I'm going to go over everything from how to get started, when to do FBA, when to do FBM, how to find profitable products, how to list your products, analyzing product opportunities, how to create shipments, and if you stay until the end, I'm even going to go over the 10K Trifecta, which is a 3-step system that I use to help my clients go from zero to over $10,000 per month consistently and predictably. And in today's video, I want to help you do the exact same thing. And to make sure that you know you're in good hands, here's a ton of my client testimonials from everyday people just like you and I who are implementing my systems every single day to get results selling on Amazon. But I don't want to waste any more time, so let's just jump right into the video. The absolute first thing that we need to do is we need to create an Amazon Seller Central account. This is where you're going to run your entire business. This is going to be your back office, where you're going to create shipments, where you're going to get engaged, where you're going to list products, where you're going to do absolutely everything when it comes to you growing this business. Now, you're going to have two different options when it comes to actually signing up for a Seller Central account. You have the option of signing up for an individual account, which is free, and you have the option of signing up for a professional account, which costs $40 per month. Now, there's a few big differences between these two plans. The individual plan that is free, yes, you do not have to pay a monthly subscription fee, but you will still have to pay all of the same fees that you're going to have to pay when selling on Amazon, like referral fees and fulfillment fees. But because you're using a free subscription plan, you're going to be charged an extra $1 for every single item that you sell, and you're going to have a limit of only being able to sell 40 units per month. On top of that, your account will be severely limited on what it can do. If you're serious about building a business selling on Amazon, actually creating a significant income, you cannot go with the free individual account. You will need the professional account. Now, with the professional account, for those $40 per month, Amazon's going to do a lot for you. Amazon will allow you to send your inventory in, and then they will store it within their warehouses. They will fulfill orders as they come in on your behalf. They're going to handle returns. They're going to handle customer service. But on top of that, you will be eligible for the buy box, which is where the majority of sales come from on Amazon. You will also be able to get ungated, which means you're going to be able to get approval to sell big brands like Stanley, Nike, Lego, Nintendo, all of those big brands that you know and love. These are things that you would not have access to if you were just sticking to the individual plan. Now, to sign up for a professional Amazon Seller Central account, what you want to do is you want to go to sell.amazon.com. It's going to take you to this page right here, and then we want to go over to pricing, go to standard selling fees, and then this is going to give you all of the information that I just covered when it comes to comparing the individual free plan to the professional $40 per month plan. You can already see right here all of the things that the professional plan is going to offer that the individual plan is not going to offer you. You do not want to get the individual account. So you're going to go down here. You can sign up for individual or you can sign up for professional. Click right there. It's going to take you to this page and you're going to go to create an Amazon account. And then it's going to take you through a questionnaire that you will need to verify at the very end. But it is a very, very straightforward process. And then once you get to do this, you verify your account and then you will be good to go to sell on Amazon. Now let's talk about the two forms of fulfillment when it comes to selling on Amazon. You have Amazon FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, and you have Amazon FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. Now with FBA, like we said earlier, Amazon is going to store all of your inventory and they're going to fulfill orders as they come in on your behalf. They're also going to handle returns and they're going to handle customer service. With FBM, you are going to be doing all of that for yourself. You're going to be storing the inventory at your house, your storage unit, or your warehouse. You're going to be fulfilling orders as they come in and you're going to be handling customer service and returns. Now, most people are going to want to stick to FBA for the majority of the year, myself included, and I think that is the strategy that you need to go with. But although FBM is a lot of work, having experience with both FBA and FBM, I can tell you that without a doubt, there are some massive benefits to doing FBM at certain times of year. One of the biggest benefits of FBM is that it is your cash flow solution. You have to understand that Amazon FBA is a cash intensive business. We need money to buy inventory and then we can go and resell that inventory for a profit. And we're going to need to do that regardless if we're doing FBA or FBM. But if we stick to FBA, we're going to need to send that inventory over to Amazon. And yes, they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. It's going to be way more convenient. Sales are coming in, even though we're, on a beach somewhere, riding off into the sunset, regardless of what we're doing with our time, orders are coming in and getting fulfilled, right? But when you send a shipment over to Amazon, it takes time. It takes time to ship it there. It takes time to receive it. It takes time to process it, and it takes time to make that shipment available for sale. When you're doing FBM, you can list those products and make them available for sale as soon as you have them in hand, which means that you can receive them and potentially sell them within the same day. This has happened to me many times before. I order 50 units of something that sells really fast and I sell through it within less than 24 hours, which means that now I can flip my money significantly faster, which means that my business will be growing at a faster rate. This is a massive, massive benefit for those of you that are willing to introduce some FBM into your business. Now, another massive benefit to FBM is more of an opportunity. You see, once we get to back to school all the way until the end of Q4, we're going to have some massive opportunities for those people that are willing to do FBM. Because with this time of year, demand is steadily increasing more and more until we hit that peak time, which is around Christmas time. So we have demand increasing significantly over time, while simultaneously more and more sellers are selling out. This means that if you are still on the listing and you're listing FBM and you're able to continue to replenish your inventory, you can be capitalizing on not only increasing your sales with the increased demand, but also selling these products for a premium price because you're one of the few sellers left. This is something that you cannot do with FBA because towards the end of the year, Amazon takes a significantly longer time to process and check in your shipments. But with FBM, like we said, we can receive it and sell out within the same day, assuming that you have the right products. Now, with that being said, to be clear, you should be focusing on FBA for the majority of the year. And then during those key times, like we talked about, back to school, Halloween, Q4, you should definitely consider doing some FBM because there's a lot of benefit to doing so. Now, let's talk about the three main business models when it comes to selling on Amazon: arbitrage, wholesale, and private label. And let's go ahead and start with private label. Private label is the most commonly known. Chances are that if you've heard of Amazon FBA in the past, your mind immediately went to something that sounded more like private label. See, private label is where we're sourcing products in bulk from a manufacturer in China. Then we're arranging shipping from China to the US, we're getting it through customs, and then we're arranging shipping from the US to an Amazon FBA warehouse. But that's just the beginning. Because we're creating a product completely from scratch that does not exist on Amazon, you're going to need to do a lot more work for it to actually get some traction and get some sales going for it. You're going to need to take professional photos. You're going to need to do keyword research. You're going to need to get good at SEO. You're going to need to optimize the headline, optimize the body copy, and you're going to need to do Amazon PPC, which is Amazon's advertising, so that you can actually start getting some traction and ranking that product. And I get it, guys. That is a lot, especially if you're just starting out. I've been in the Amazon space for almost 6 years now, and I've done every single model, including private label. And I can tell you with full confidence that private label is the most complicated, it requires the most upfront cost, and it is the hardest way to sell on Amazon. I do not recommend private label to the vast majority of people who are serious about selling on Amazon and want to create an income. Because of this, I'm going to be focusing on arbitrage and wholesale for the remainder of the video. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to go from 0 to your first 10K month on Amazon, even if you have absolutely no experience with Amazon FBA or selling anything online. Now, the main difference between arbitrage and wholesale is simply how are you going to get your inventory. But with both of these models, we are selling products with built-in demand because we're selling brands that have spent millions and millions of dollars marketing over the years, building trust with consumers. So everybody already knows who these brands are and they're already searching for them. These are brands like Stanley, Nike, Puma, Adidas, Nintendo, PlayStation, all of these brands that you know and love. On top of us already selling products with built-in demand, we are doing absolutely zero listing creation. We are just jumping onto listings that already exist on Amazon and they already have data that are going to tell us if these are good products to hop onto or not, which we'll talk about later on. On top of that, we are also doing absolutely zero Amazon advertising unless we choose to do so, but it is not required. Your main focus with these business models is just finding profitable inventory. Now, like I said, the main difference between arbitrage and wholesale is how are you going to get your inventory. Now, let's start with arbitrage. Arbitrage can take one of two forms. We have retail arbitrage and we have online arbitrage. To find products doing retail arbitrage, it would require us to go in and out of retail stores like Big Five, Walmart, Dick's Sporting Goods, Target, Best Buy, all of those big retail stores. We're going into the stores with our Amazon Seller app or our Seller Amp mobile app, which we'll be talking about later on, and we are scanning products to find profitable opportunities. Now, if we're doing online arbitrage, it's the same concept, but instead of physically going in and out of stores, you're going onto these stores' websites, you're finding inventory that is profitable to sell on Amazon, you're shipping it over to yourself or your prep center, and that is how you're selling on the platform. Now, with wholesale, we are buying products in bulk by either working with a brand directly or working with a distributor that carries many different brands. We buy that inventory, we send it to ourselves, we send it to our prep center, or we send it directly to Amazon, and that is how we're selling on the platform. Now, I'm going to be going way more in detail about how to actually find products for all of these models later on in the video. These are the two models that I focus on personally, and I focus on with my one-on-one clients because I believe that arbitrage and wholesale are significantly simpler for the average person that's coming into this business with no technical skills, and they can consistently make this work. I mean, look at some of my recent client screenshots. These are everyday people just like you and I who work full-time jobs, they have families, they have many commitments in their life, and they're able to come in and make this work relatively quickly. Now, I'm about to show you exactly how to find products regardless if you're doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, or wholesale. But before we get to that point, you need to download two very important softwares. It's going to cost you less than $50 a month, and it's going to make your life so much easier. The first software that you need to download is Keepa. Keepa, by far, is the most important tool that you will need in this business. It is a product analysis tool. Essentially, it gives you a full breakdown of all of the data that is on that listing. It'll tell you how fast that product is selling, the price that it's selling for, buy box statistics, how many sellers are on it. It's going to tell you so much information that will help you make good buying decisions that are actually going to make you money and not lose you money. The second software that you need is a profit and loss tool that's called Seller Amp. Seller Amp gives you a ton of great data, but where Seller Amp really shines is in its storefront stocking ability, which we're going to go over later on in the video. All right, so we've laid a lot of groundwork down up until this point, but now we need to go over the most important task in your business. This task needs to be prioritized above everything else that you do, and that is product sourcing. We need to be able to find profitable inventory consistently and reliably for a long period of time. Now, let's say you decide to start with retail arbitrage. It is super simple, very straightforward. There is not much to it. All you're gonna need is your Amazon Seller app or the Seller Amp mobile app, which I prefer to do if I'm gonna go do any retail arbitrage, because it just gives you way more data that you can go off of and make quicker buying decisions. But all you're gonna do is use the barcode feature or type in the title of your product, and then it's going to give you a full breakdown on that product, whether it's profitable, how often it's selling. You can even look at some of the Keepa data on that listing, and you just keep scanning all of the items that you run into until you find some profitable inventory. Now, I'm going to tell you which stores to actually go to, but before I do, you need to keep in mind when you're scanning all of these products, you are going to run into gated products. Gated products simply means that you are currently restricted from selling that brand or product or subcategory on Amazon until you provide Amazon with an invoice or you fill out a questionnaire, and then they give you approval to sell that brand. Once you get that approval, that means you are now ungated in that brand. Because I know it's inevitable that you're going to be running into gated products, I've gone ahead and left a list of auto ungated brands, and I'll leave it down below in the comment section that you guys can download completely for free. I don't even need your email, but this will help you a lot. Get ungated in some of those brands so that then you know, hey, if I see this brand when I'm doing retail arbitrage sourcing, I know I'm ungated and I'll dig deeper into that brand. Now, as far as which stores to go to Walmart, go to Target, Best Buy, Dick's Sporting Goods, but don't forget about a lot of the other stores out there. When people think of retail arbitrage, those are the main stores that everybody goes to. They still have profitable inventory, of course, but don't forget about Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Grocery Outlet, Ollie's, Aldi's, and definitely don't forget about Nike outlets or other retail outlets. Everybody just goes to the Nike outlet, but at the Nike outlet, there's also a bunch of different outlets there. There's Puma outlets, there's Reebok outlets, there's Hurley outlets. All of these different stores that I just mentioned have a lot of discounted inventory already that you can then go and capitalize on. Now, you can also go source from TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington Coat Factory, but if you're gonna source from those stores specifically, you need to be more organized with your receipts and your pictures of your products because those stores don't give you itemized receipts. So if you run into an issue with Amazon, you're going to need to be able to match the receipt to the product. So just take a picture of the receipt and the product with the label on it showing you the item number that matches the receipt, so that you're all good in case Amazon comes asking you for proof of authenticity or anything like that. But that is how you find inventory for retail arbitrage. Now let me show you how to find inventory for online arbitrage. All right, so to do storefront stocking, you need a starting point. You want to start with a brand that you know a lot of arbitrage sellers are sourcing. One of those brands is Nike. So go to Amazon.com and you just type in Nike in the search bar, and then it will take you to all of the Nike listings on Amazon. From here, we're going to scroll down and we're just going to look for listings that have multiple FBA sellers. We're going to go ahead and click on the Blazer Mid 77 Vintage. Now, what we can do from here is we can try to source this exact product, or what we can do is just start storefront stocking other sellers that are selling this product right here, right? So let's say we're going to go to Amlin store, which has 52 ratings. Once we click on their name in the Chrome extension, it will take us to their storefront, which is going to look like this. And from here, we can source way more efficiently. Guys, this is literally a shortcut. You're capitalizing on the product research that other sellers have already done, okay? So what we can do is, if we want to source Nike, we can go down and just click on the brand Nike and we can start sourcing. If we want to source all of their products, we can just go right here and we can start sourcing all of the products that they are already selling. But usually with Nike sellers, I like to kind of expand past just Nike. So I'll click on a Nike seller because I know they're doing arbitrage, but let's say I want to go to tools and home improvement. So if we start just from the top, all we need to do is, okay, we're interested in this product. We need to click on this G right here for Google. It's going to do a Google search and we're going to try to find that product at the same price that they found it. All right, so right here, we're just looking for the exact same listing and it pops up right away. It says low price, $8.50 from the actual brand's website. So we're going to click on that. This is a website. Retail Me Not is telling us we have 30%, but because it's our first order off of this site or this product, and even if it's not, we can use a catch-all email to make the system think that it's always our first order, and we can get 40% off, okay? So remember that we're getting 40% off right here, and we're assuming that we're gonna send this product to our prep center in a tax-free state. So we'd go back to the storefront, and then we would click the Amazon button, and then what we would do from here is we would go and put that $8.50, and we would multiply it by 60% because we have 40% off, and we would get the price out the door, cost of goods, $5.10. It's currently selling for $13.49. So I showed you exactly how we manufactured our margin so that we can get 48% ROI on this particular product, and we did not spend a lot of time trying to find it. Now, if we're going to pursue the wholesale route, then there's going to be a few requirements that we need to meet. We need an LLC, an EIN, and a seller's permit in your state if your state requires it. You're going to need these things before you can work with any supplier. Now, in order to get these things, you can use a service like Busy or LegalZoom. It just makes the process way easier. Or you can also go to your state government website and you can do all of this on your own. Once you have that done, you're good to go. And there are 3 steps that you're going to need to follow to actually be able to source with wholesale. Step number 1, you need to find and vet suppliers. Step number 2, you need to contact and open wholesale accounts. And step number 3, you need to review and purchase inventory. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do the first 2 right now. Now I'm going to show you a very quick example on how to find and vet suppliers. Now the reason this is going to be just a short, quick example is because I don't want to make this video 3 hours long. If you want a super in-depth, going over all of the nitty-gritty details video on finding suppliers, different ways to find them, different ways to vet them, and contact them, then make sure to go down below in the description and I will have an additional video that I've already made on the channel that will go over all of those details. But for this example, when we're starting out, we just simply want to go over to Google. We want to either type in a brand, a category, or a niche and add the words distributor, manufacturer, wholesaler, and then the location that we want to look into. All right, so I just went ahead and typed in video games distributors in California. Now we're going to go down this list and just look at a couple suppliers really quickly to see what we can find. But sometimes when you look on Google, you're going to see a bunch of sponsored ads right here or sponsored listings from different suppliers. Those are suppliers paying to be seen. And usually if a supplier is running a ton of advertising, that marketing expense is going to reflect in their pricing because they have to make that up somehow. Okay, so just keep that in mind. A lot of times when you see those sponsored posts, the pricing isn't going to be great. I'm not saying that's going to be the case in every single time you see it, but that does tend to be the case in my experience. So we're just going to go ahead and get started trying to find suppliers in the video games category. So we'll just go straight from here MCD Video Games. Now, some of the main things that we're looking for with these suppliers is, are they carrying products with built-in demand? So are they carrying popular brands within this category? So if we're looking into the video games category, like in this example, are they selling Nintendo? Are they selling Xbox? Are they selling PlayStation? The major brands in this space. If they are, okay, we want to look a little bit deeper. We also want to see if they're doing a lot of business to business and not so much business to consumer transactions. And we also want to look at their location, maybe some reviews on Trustpilot. We're just trying to gauge that, yes, they sell in-demand brands and products. That is one criteria. But another criteria is, are they an established business with a legitimate location? And lastly, but very, very important, we want to make sure that they're not going to scam us out of their money, because sometimes websites look very, very promising, and then you look them up on Google Maps, like an example that I'm going to show you, and they're operating out of their house, okay? Or they're operating out of some shady place that chances are you're going to send them your money. You're either not going to get the products that you want, or you're not going to get any products whatsoever, okay? So vetting when it comes to wholesale is crucial. So the link that we clicked on took us straight to the About Us page. So let's look at the homepage really quick, and we just want to see exactly this. Okay, we want to see that they're selling the brands that we are interested in. These are the major players in this space. So then we'll go back to where we were. So we want to go to our company or an About Us page. We just want to see who they are, how long they've been in business. Are they an actual distributor, or are they something else? Are they a liquidator? What are they doing? What kind of products are we expected to get? So we can see right here, Matcom Distribution is one of the premier distributors of video game software, hardware, and accessories in the United States. They have large inventory. Here's their location. So if we click on their location, it looks like they're operating out of a warehouse, and it's Matcom Distribution. It looks legit. It's not a residential area or anything like that. We can go over to contact us. If they are a legitimate supplier, they will have phone numbers, they will have addresses, they will have an ability to contact them. Sometimes you're going to find suppliers that don't have any of that. They don't have an address, they don't have any way of contacting them, and they just want you to open everything up online. There's no way to contact them, which is a huge red flag for me personally. Okay, so we have their address right here. We have a phone number, cell phone number, Skype, email, fax. We have all of their business hours. We could literally drive up to this location and go in there. So this is a promising supplier from the looks of it. And you have to keep in mind that the vetting process does not end just because you've placed an order. You have to continue the vetting process to see if, yes, they're giving you exactly what you're asking for, like US versions of video games, not like international versions of video games, unless that's what you're sourcing specifically. You want to look at the quality. You want to look at their lead time. You want to look at just how things are overall. You may be working with a supplier and they're an absolute nightmare to work with, and you don't want to continue to do business with them. Vetting is so important because we want to protect your money. We want to build a good, legitimate partnership and relationship with the supplier, and it has to be a win-win overall. All right, so that is MCD Matcom Distribution. Let's look at a supplier that is not legitimate. Okay, so this is K Wholesale. Now they're saying right here, we are verified by Wholesale Central, but I will tell you why I don't like this supplier. If you decide you're like, oh, I don't really care, I want to work with them anyways because they have these big brands right here that I recognize, these three right here, and maybe some of you guys recognize some of the other ones. Okay, Starbucks. So they have some good brands, right? That's what we're interested in. But if we go down all the way, like this is super generic. These are just like stock photos right here. They're not real people. So what we could do right here is what we're going to do. We're going to get this address and we're just going to plug it into Google Maps. And then this is what it's popping up, right? So we're popping up this location that seems to be in a residential area. So we're going to drop our little guy right there. And you can see right here very clearly that this is just a residential area. There's no big warehouse carrying a bunch of brands or loading docks or anything like that that would signify that, hey, this brand does have very good relationships with brands like Starbucks, or this supplier has very good relationships with brands like Starbucks, Theragun, L'Oreal, Nespresso. No, this is more than likely a B2B2B. It's just a product broker that is going to facilitate a transaction from you and the actual distributor. But if they're operating out of a place like this, yes, you may get products, but when Amazon comes knocking and they ask you for an invoice, that invoice that they're providing you will not protect your account. Okay, so when you run into suppliers like this, in my opinion, you do not want to work with them. Now that we've done the preliminary vetting of a supplier, now we need to go and contact that supplier. I've gone ahead and left a contact template down below in the description, but it is really simple to reach out to these suppliers. There's a lot of different ways that you can reach out. So if you want more in-depth information about contacting suppliers, you can go ahead and check this video out after you watch this one. But to explain really quickly, you're going to contact that supplier. and you're going to ask them to open up a wholesale account. Once you ask them to open up a wholesale account, they will give you a wholesale application, and then you will get access to their inventory. Now, we can go through this inventory in a lot of different ways, but some of the easiest ways for you to get started is by using a software like ScanUnlimited. ScanUnlimited is going to allow you to take your supplier's inventory list, you plug it into the software, and it will scan for profitability within that list in a couple of minutes. Now, this is going to give you a lot of the low-hanging fruit, but keep in mind, ScanUnlimited is a software. It is not perfect, and a lot of the products are going to fall through the cracks. That's why I recommend you also do some manual sourcing. Most people will not do any manual sourcing whatsoever, and they're not going to be able to catch those gems that fell through the cracks because they're only relying on the software. Like I said, there's a few more ways to find inventory from your suppliers, but these are two different ways that will help you get started right away. Now, I'm going to show you how to do some product research, essentially showing you how to determine if a product's going to make you money and sell well or lose you money and not sell at all. But keep in mind, this is going to be the same process regardless if you're doing online arbitrage or wholesale. Retail arbitrage is a little bit more just a snapshot in time. How is it doing right now? But you're not doing super in-depth product research because you're doing everything on your phone. Now, there's a lot of different things that we need to look for when we're evaluating a product to see if it's something that we want to sell and to see if it's something that's going to make us money and not actually lose us money. So we're going to look at the product Super Mario Wonder. Now, what you're going to see with this product is, yes, it sells incredibly well. First thing is, we're going to assume that we're profitable with this product. Okay, we're going to assume that we're getting it for $35, $36, whatever it may be. And what we want to see is, we want to see, okay, what are the estimated sales? And this does have two different variations, but with a listing that sells with this much volume, we know that this product is going to sell incredibly well. Now, another thing we want to see is it profitable? If we're getting this for $35, yeah, we're making a little bit of money on it. But if we're getting this product for $43, then no, we're not making any money at all. We're actually losing 6% on every single unit that we're selling. Okay, so that's number one. You have to make sure that it is profitable. The second thing that you need to be aware of is, can you even sell this product? So you need to list your product onto your Seller Central inventory. And if it tells you you're gated, if it says it's restricted, or if it says that you're ineligible to list this product, then we cannot go any further. There's no point in doing product research at that. Once we get to that point. Now we want to see, okay, let's say we are getting this for $35 and we are profitable right now at $52.99. But let's say we look back at SellerAmp and the average selling price is actually more like $50.60. Then we're going to be just expected, the worst case scenario, that our average is actually going to go down. Okay, so we want to see that as well. We can see that the current sales rank is 22, but if we look back at 180 days, and the sales rank says it's actually been 10,000 and it doesn't sell a fraction of how much it's selling right now, we want to be aware of all of those data points. Okay, there's a lot of data that we have at our fingertips, and if we're not using it, we're making a massive mistake, because this is invaluable product research tools and information that we don't get in other models like private label, which we talked about in the beginning of the video. And SellerAmp has Keepa right here, so you can look at Keepa data at a quick snapshot, but we're going to look actually in depth on Keepa. This is not a replacement. We can see if we want to do FBM, we can switch this back and forth right here to do FBM, but we want to see who our competitors are. Now we have a bunch of FBM sellers right here selling it at $49.50, $49.95, and so on, but they're too close to the FBA price, which is why they're not getting the buy box share. But we can see right here, these sellers are within 1% of the buy box. All of these could potentially be your competitors, all of these four right here. So $52.99, and then the next price up is $53.30. So these could be your competitors, but in a listing like this, when we're selling this much of volume, your competition isn't going to be a massive factor because everybody's going to be getting buy box share. Now, the next thing that we need to do is look at the Keepa data. This is the Keepa software that we talked about earlier, the most important software in your business. It's going to save you a lot of money if you just learn how to read it properly. Now, what we want to see is how much are we estimated to sell, cross-referencing what SellerAmp said. So SellerAmp said we're actually expected to sell 22,000. And this one, we can see that Amazon and Keepa are telling us we're only going to sell about 10,000 a month. Only sell about 10,000 a month. This one, again, has an insane volume. But we want to make sure that that variation that we're looking at is actually going to get some sales, and it's not, a bad variation. So we can see that the digital code does get some sales, but what's actually getting the majority of the sales is the physical copy of this video game, getting about 10,000 sold in the past month. We can see that the ratings are skyrocketing. We can come over here and see that the reviews are skyrocketing. So very safe bet that this variation is going to be selling very, very well. Now we want to look at the data tab. We want to come over to buy box statistics just to make sure that not one person is completely dominating the buy box. And we can see that being mainly split between 3 sellers, but everybody's getting some sort of buy box share, assuming that their price is competitive and has stayed competitive for an extended period of time. So let's go back to price history. We can look at the 3 months, or we can look at the life of the product. If it has data for more than 1 year, you'll have 3 months, 1 year, and then all time. So we want to look at the last 3 months, and we can see that yes, this orange tab right here, all of this orange filled in area is Amazon. Amazon's been on this listing, but we can see that the buy box is being essentially won 100% of the time in the last 3 months by third-party sellers. Other than these spiking prices right here, that is Amazon. But we want to see if Amazon is on the listing, are they sharing the buy box? And this is a clear example that if you undercut Amazon, they will give you the buy box share that you're looking for. Now, another thing that we can see is that the sellers is actually going down. If you haven't a time, like let's go back to the life of the product, we'll go right here where it goes from 1 seller and then it starts to go all the way up to 60. With this particular product, we saw some dips in price, but a lot of times when you see a massive spike in sellers, you're going to see a big drop in price as well. So we can see that this price is actually pretty consistent because there's only so much that people can drop the price on a product like this, especially being so new, and it's still being profitable. So people have to maintain the price at a certain level in order to even make any money. So with this product, we can see that the average price is probably more around the $50 price point. So then we come back up here to Seller Amp and we want to look at the average prices. So right now, yes, currently it's $52.99, but the last 30 days it was $50.60, then it was $51.13, and then for the last 6 months the price has actually been higher. So we want to kind of get a gauge of what's worst case scenario. Is it $50? Is it $51? I think it was safe to say after we looked at the Keepa data that the average price is $51 that we would have to be comfortable with. And then we have to ask ourselves, is 10% ROI per unit with something selling this amount of volume worth it for us? Is $3 profit on a $35 purchase worth it for us? Now keep in mind, this was just a brief overview of how to do product research, but I've actually gone ahead and made this 45-minute video going super in depth on how to do product research and everything that you need to know. I'll leave a link down below in the description so you can check it out after you finish this video. All right, now let's talk about how to ship to Amazon. This is what makes Amazon so special. We can buy inventory, send it to Amazon, they're going to store it and fulfill our orders for us. But we actually have 3 different paths that we can follow to get to that point. Path number 1 is self-prep and self-ship. This means that you're going to have the products in hand, and if a product requires prep, like let's say a poly bag, for example, you're going to be doing all of that prep yourself and then shipping it off to Amazon. When you're just starting out, this is a great option to go with because your turnaround time from getting your products and sending them to Amazon is going to be significantly faster than if you relied on path number 2. Path number 2 is utilizing a prep center. Like I said, path number 1 is a great option if you're just starting out, but the more and more inventory that you're able to get your hands on, the more and more time consuming this task is going to become. Once you get to that point, you need to outsource prepping and shipping so that you can focus on the most important task in your business, which is product sourcing. So how you're going to get this done is that instead of ordering products and shipping them to yourself, you're going to order products and ship them to the prep center. Your prep center is going to receive it, prep it, and then ship it off to Amazon on your behalf. Now there's also a third option, but you're only going to be able to do this if you're doing wholesale or you have products in hand, and that is utilizing Amazon's prep services. A lot of people don't know that Amazon actually has their own prep service, and they will prep and label all of your things for you for a fee, of course. Now the reason you can only do this if you're doing wholesale or you have products in hand is because of the box requirements that Amazon needs from you before you finalize a shipping plan. If you're working with the supplier, they're going to tell you how many boxes they're shipping out and what is in each of those boxes. If you have products in hand, you're going to have all of that information as well. But if you're doing online arbitrage and let's say you order 10 units, well, those 10 units can come in 3 or 4 different boxes, all ranging in different quantities. So it's impossible for you to be able to fill that information out and ship it directly to Amazon. You also have to worry about orders getting canceled or there being limited stock, which makes it even harder to do. Now, anytime that I can ship directly from my supplier to Amazon's warehouse, I will take advantage of that because of the faster turnaround time than if I were to ship it to myself or ship it to my prep center. The only downside to Amazon's prep services is that you can never get a cheaper rate. It is what it is, whether you send in 10 units or 1,000 units. But if you're using a prep center, you will always be able to negotiate your pricing per unit assuming you're sending in more and more volume. Now, let's go over exactly how to create a shipping plan so that you know how to do this for yourself. Okay, so let me show you exactly how to list your product so that it shows up in your Seller Central inventory. Now, you're going to need to do this first before you can go ahead and create any shipping plans in order to apply to get ungated and just to be able to see if you're even eligible to sell a product on Amazon. Quick pro tip before we go any further is you want to do this before you purchase a product, whether you're buying it wholesale or whether you're buying it arbitrage. The reason you want to do that first is because you don't want to go and buy 30, 40, 50 units and then you're gated. If you're gated, you're better off just buying 10, getting the ungate, and then buying a larger order later. The same thing applies if you're doing wholesale. You don't want to go and buy 2, 3, 400 units of something, then you go and try to list it and Amazon tells us you're ineligible to sell this, you're gated, whatever it may be. You can completely get rid of that headache by just trying to list this in your inventory and seeing what Amazon tells you. Most of the time, they're going to tell you everything's completely fine. All right, so in order to list a product, we need to get the ASIN. So we can get this right here from SellerAmp. You can also go to the URL of the exact listing that you want to be on and get the ASIN from the URL. If the product is a variation, make sure you have the right size. I don't have the right size because this is just an example, so it doesn't matter. But if you're selling size 10s, make sure you're clicking on size 10s. You can also find the ASIN down in the product details, but if it is a variation, this may not be correct. All right, you can also find it in Keepa. If Keepa decides to load, you can poke around in Keepa and you can also find the ASIN there. The most reliable places are in the URL or right here off of the SellerAmp Chrome extension. You get that ASIN, then you're gonna go over to your Seller Central account. All right, so we're in Seller Central. You're gonna click on add a product and you're gonna have a couple of different options to add this product. So we can just type in our title if we wanna do that, Nike 77 vintage, and try to find our listing that way. But the easiest way is just go to product ID. It's gonna ask you for UPC, EAN, ISBN, or an ASIN. We're gonna be using the ASIN. You don't wanna use the UPC because sometimes even though a UPC should be assigned to only one product, sometimes on Amazon, a UPC is assigned to 10 different products, right? So we always use the ASIN because it is the exact Amazon identifier that is on the Amazon catalog, so we will not have any issues. So if you were gated or ineligible to sell a product, you wouldn't even get to this page. After you submitted your ASIN to add a product, it would have prompted you to apply to ungate, or it would have told you something else like you're restricted in this ASIN or whatever it may be. But if you get to this page, that means you're completely good to list this product. All right, so I already filled everything out just to make this go a little bit faster, but we want to put our condition, which we can do right here or right here. And then we want to assign a SKU to this. So because we're just using this as an example, I just put test SKU. You also want to put how many units you're going to send in. I put 15. For your price, you put whatever price you want to sell this at. Obviously, you want to be competitive in the buy box, but typically when I send things in, I'm raising the price in case the price goes up. Because let's say I'm sending in a box of, let's say these Nike shoes right here, and they're all selling for $50, but by the time my product gets there, everybody has sold out that is selling at that price, and now the new price is, let's say, $75. Because I already set my price, as soon as they become available for sale, they're going to drop to that $50 mark that I originally put, right? So then I'm losing out on potentially 10, 20 more dollars of profit, right? So I always put the price a little bit higher. Now, as far as your fulfillment goes, if you want to fulfill this yourself and do FBM, you will click on I will ship this item myself, merchant fulfilled. If you're going to have Amazon do it for you, you will click Amazon will ship and provide customer service, which is fulfilled by Amazon, FBA, right? So we're going to do this one, and then we will just save and finish. And that's all you have to do to list a product. After a few minutes, it will show up in your manage inventory page, and then you will be able to create a shipping plan. All right, so let's create a shipment really quickly. We're going to go over here to this listing, this Mario Wonder that we talked about earlier in the video. We're going to check this box right here, go over to the drop-down menu. We're going to go to send and replenish inventory. So once we get over to this page, you're going to click individual units. You're going to go over to the prep and labeling details. You're going to pick which category this product falls under. And for us, it's going to be fall under no prep needed. So we're going to click save right here. And then it's going to ask us who's going to label this product. Do we want Amazon to label it for a 55-cent per unit fee? Or do we want to label it ourselves? If we click by seller, we're going to print those out and put them over each and every barcode on the units. Each unit needs to have one barcode that Amazon can scan. If we click by Amazon, which we'll use for this example, we don't need to worry about that. Once Amazon receives it, Amazon will label these products for us. We're going to save, and you can see right here, it's going to start adding our costs based off of what we're selecting. If we had selected that we wanted Amazon to prep and there was prep needed, it would add that right here. It would populate it, and then it would start giving you your total prep and labeling fees that would add up at the very end. Now, let's say we're sending over 50 units of this title right here, and then we're going to go to ready to pack. All right, so we can see that total prep and labeling fees is $27.50 to label those 50 units. We're going to go to pack individual units. And then right here, we can tell Amazon everything's going to fit in one box, or to fulfill these 50 units, we're going to need to send everything in multiple boxes, but we're going to fit everything into one box. So we're going to confirm, and then Amazon wants the box dimensions and box weight. So we're going to say it's a 10 by 10 by 10, and the weight is 20 pounds. Okay, so once it takes us to this page, we need to tell Amazon when this is expected to ship. We're just gonna say we're gonna ship it out today. And then we need to choose Amazon optimized shipment splits, partial shipment splits, or minimal shipment splits. Because we only have one SKU and we were able to send it all to one location, we're getting the minimal shipment splits. And then right here, you wanna decide, okay, do I wanna send it to the East Coast, save a little bit of money on this particular fee? But since I'm in the West Coast, I'd rather pay an extra $4 right here. And chances are it's gonna be cheaper to ship to the West Coast where I'm already located, okay? But you can choose East, Central, or West. We're gonna choose West. Now from here, we're gonna choose small parcel delivery. We're definitely not gonna send this in a pallet, and we're gonna choose Amazon's partnered carrier. Then it's gonna give us a quick summary of our shipment that we are sending over, and then it has the 50 units, 20 pounds, one box, one SKU, and this is the estimated carrier charges. Now, as you can see, there's a big discrepancy between estimated carrier charges of $6.95 and $49.45. Part of that is the fees that the labeling fees that we are getting charged because we want Amazon to label our products. If we want to get rid of that, we would need to label them ourselves. The placement fee is the big headache for everybody. This is a recent change that Amazon has made, but essentially what Amazon's trying to do is they're trying to collect on their fees on the front end. Yes, they're charging us a placement fee, which on average is an additional 27 cents per unit that we have not seen before. And they are also reducing the fulfillment fees at the same time that this will take effect. So they're going to reduce the fulfillment fee by 20 cents. So essentially we're paying more upfront on these placement fees in order for Amazon to get their fees upfront. And then on the back end, we're going to save a little bit of money. So this fee is actually going to kind of not cancel out, but it is going to be not as significant. And keep in mind, guys, this is just a mock shipment that I just created out of thin air right now just for this example. And then you would just need to accept charges and confirm shipping, and you have up to 24 hours to void those shipping charges. So if something were to change or whatever would happen that you would not want to get charged for this, you would just come back into your shipping plan, and then you would be able to void those charges up to 24 hours. After you do that, you are going to be able to print your box labels, and then you will put those box labels onto your shipping boxes, or you will download them and send them to your supplier, and then they will be able to put them on your shipping boxes, and then they will send over to Amazon. Amazon will process, check them in, and make them available for sale. Now, I haven't mentioned this before, but I actually have a goal for 2024, and that is to get 100 people to their first $10,000 per month selling on Amazon. And at the time of recording this, we are off to a really strong start. Now, in order for you to hit your first $10,000 a month, just like all of these clients that I'm popping up on the screen right now, you're gonna need to follow a 3-step system called the 10K Trifecta. This will significantly increase your chances of hitting that first 10K per month goal. Now, the first thing that you need to do is you need to get a target and a spend goal. Let's say our target is $10,000 per month sold on Amazon. That means we need to spend roughly $5,000 in inventory to hit that target. Now, we can break this spend goal down any way that we want. If we want to do a daily spend goal, that means we have to buy $167 of inventory every single day, or we can break it up into a weekly goal, which means we need to spend $1,250 per week on inventory to hit that spend goal. You can break this down any way that you want, bi-weekly, every other day, however this is going to work for you and it fits your schedule, but you need a target and a spend goal. Now, the second thing that you need is clarity. What selling model are you going to follow? Are you going to do arbitrage? Are you going to do wholesale? Are you going to do private label? You need to pick one of these and you need to stick to it until you hit your goal. The people that come into this business and they dabble with retail arbitrage, then they dabble with online arbitrage, then they dabble with wholesale, then they start talking about private label, then they start doing this and they start doing that. Guys, I've helped over 700 people start this business, and I can tell you with full confidence, it never works out for the person doing that. This will give you massive clarity because now you have a target you have a spend goal, and you have an avenue to get you to those goals. The last thing that you're going to need is effective consistency. And let's get real for a second. Guys, when you come into this business, you're going to feel a little overwhelmed, a little lost. You're even going to feel skeptical at times. But you need to understand one thing. This business is real, and everyday people just like you watching this are making this work on a daily basis. But in order to make this work, you need effective consistency. Effective consistency means that yes, you're showing up on a daily basis, but you're learning, you're evolving, you're growing, you're improving your skill set, you're seeing what's working and you're doubling down on it. You're seeing what's not working and you're discarding it. This is known as effective consistency. Consistency alone is not enough. The consistent man on Amazon will show up every single day doing a method that they halfway understand, and they will never try to grow. They will just keep doing the same thing that's leading to limited results, and then they'll start complaining that this business model doesn't work. And guys, another reason why effective consistency is so important and daily implementation is so important is because it will contribute to your level of self-belief. Like I just said, people are making this work every single day, but there's a massive difference from you knowing that other people are making this work and you knowing that you can make this work. Those are two very different things. And in order to develop and keep that self-belief and belief that this business can work out for you is by implementing every single day. That is the 10K trifecta. You keep in mind this 3-part system and everything else that I teach you in this video, and you will hit your first 10K month before you know it. Now, there is one major thing that we haven't talked about, and that is ungating. Ungating is very, very important in this business. If you know how to do it, you're gonna really speed up your progress. And if you don't know how to get ungated, you're gonna have a very long day, to say the least. Because of that, I want you to watch this video next, where I take you from beginner to expert when it comes to ungating in one video. And if you guys wanna be a part of my one-on-one mentorship, getting results like all of the clients that I've shown throughout this video, then go ahead and click that first link in the description, sign up, and we can get started today.